The alarm screamed through the command center of Orbital Defense Platform Sentinel-9. Admiral Kate Morrison stood in front of the massive holographic display, watching another human fleet die. Blue dots representing Earth ships blinked out one by one as red enemy markers swarmed over them. The Zarthul were winning again. Kate had watched this same scene play out dozens of times over the past 3 years. The alien coalition called the Zarthul Dominion had been crushing humanity since they first appeared at the edge of known space. 12 different alien species all working together, all determined to wipe out humans, and they were very good at it. Another 5,000 dead, someone said behind her. Kate did not turn around. She knew the numbers already. Earth's outer colonies were gone. The mid-range systems were under attack. Soon the aliens would reach Earth itself. Soon there would be nothing left. The doors to the command center opened. Dr. Helen Cross walked in, carrying a data tablet. Helen was the chief science advisor for the Terran Alliance. She looked tired. Everyone looked tired these days. 3 years of war did that to people. "Admiral, I need to speak with you," Helen said quietly. "It's classified." Kate followed Helen to a private office. The door sealed behind them with a soft hiss. Helen placed the tablet on the desk between them. The screen showed an image of what looked like an old military facility, half buried in red Martian sand. "My research team was digging through abandoned bases on Mars," Helen explained. "Looking for old weapons, old technology, anything that might help. We found something impossible." She swiped the screen. The next image showed a metal chamber covered in frost. Through the ice, Kate could see the outline of a human body. "A cryo chamber," Kate said. "So what? We have those." "Not like this one. This chamber dates back to 2089. Kate, that's 158 years ago. Before first contact with aliens. Before the Great Expansion. Before everything we know." Helen's voice was shaking. "The facility belonged to something called Project Cerberus. We can't find any records. They were all destroyed. But there are markings on the chamber. Military markings. And the man inside is still alive." Kate stared at the image. A man from before the modern age, frozen in time. Waiting in the Martian dirt while humanity reached for the stars and then started to fall. "Can we wake him up?" Kate asked. "Yes, the chamber is designed for long-term storage. The revival protocols are still intact." Helen paused. "But Kate, we don't know who he is. We don't know why he was frozen. Project Cerberus was classified at the highest levels, and then erased from history. That means someone was afraid of it. We need to call the council," Kate said. 2 hours later, Kate stood in front of the Terran Alliance Emergency Council. 12 faces looked at her from screens around the room. Some were on Earth. Others were scattered across the remaining human systems. They were the last leaders of humanity. Helen showed them the images. She explained about the facility, the cryo chamber, the mysterious Project Cerberus. When she finished, the room erupted in arguments. General Marcus Webb spoke first. He was an old soldier, scarred from battles on a dozen worlds. "This is insane. We're talking about waking up someone from a Black Ops program that was deliberately erased from history. For all we know, this person is dangerous. A criminal. A weapon that went wrong. We're losing this war," another council member said. "We've lost colonies. We've lost fleets. We've lost billions of people. What do we have to lose by trying?" "Our humanity," Marcus replied. "If we start digging up forgotten horrors from our past, we might become something worse than the Zarthul." The arguments went back and forth. Some wanted to wake the frozen man. Others wanted to leave him buried. Kate listened to all of them. Then she made her decision. "We wake him up," she said. Her voice cut through the noise. "We're facing extinction. If there's even a chance this person can help us, we have to take it. The Zarthul will reach Earth in 3 months. We don't have time to be careful." The vote was close. 7-4-5 against. Kate had her authorization. They moved the cryo chamber to a secure medical facility on the dark side of the moon. The room was filled with equipment and armed guards. Doctors and technicians prepared for the revival. Kate and Marcus stood behind a reinforced window watching. "I hope you know what you're doing," Marcus said. "So do I," Kate replied. The revival process began. Heat flooded into the chamber. The ice started to melt. Slowly, the figure inside became visible, a man looking about 30 years old. His body was covered in strange scars, surgical scars, as if someone had opened him up and put him back together. "Heart rate increasing," a doctor announced. "Neural activity detected. He's coming back." The chamber opened with a hiss of releasing pressure. Warm air mixed with the cold. The man's eyes opened. They were an unusual color, silver gray, not a natural human color. For a long moment he just lay there, breathing. Then he sat up. The doctor stepped back nervously. The guards raised their weapons slightly. The man looked around the room, taking everything in. His movements were slow, careful, controlled. How long was I under? His voice was rough from disuse. He spoke with an accent, an old way of talking that nobody used anymore. Helen stepped forward. 158 years. The man nodded. He did not seem surprised. He swung his legs off the table and stood up. The guards tensed. But the man just stretched, testing his body. Kate could see his muscles move under his skin. There was something wrong about it. Something unnatural. What's the threat assessment? The man asked. What? Helen blinked. Why did you wake me up? There must be a threat. What is it? Kate spoke through the intercom. We're at war. An alien coalition is trying to exterminate humanity. We're losing. The man looked up at the window where Kate and Marcus stood. Those silver gray eyes seemed to look right through them. Aliens, okay, that's new. He paused. I'm going to need a briefing. Full tactical analysis, current force deployments, enemy capabilities. He looked around at the nervous faces. And someone needs to tell me what year it is and what's happened to Earth. Who are you? Marcus asked. The man looked at the chamber he had just left. There was a designation printed on the side in faded letters. Echo 7. I'm Soldier Designation Echo 7, Project Cerberus. But you can call me Ryan Carter, or just Ryan. I was never very formal. Kate and Marcus looked at each other. They had awakened something from humanity's forgotten past, a soldier from a program so secret it had been erased. And now he stood before them calm and ready, asking about threats and tactics as if he had been asleep for a day instead of more than a century. Welcome back, Ryan, Kate said. We have a lot to talk about, Ryan nodded. Good, let's not waste time. If you're losing a war, every minute counts. He started walking toward the door. The guards moved to block him. Ryan stopped and looked at them. He did not say anything. He did not need to. Something in those strange eyes made the guards step aside. As Ryan left the room with Helen and a squad of nervous guards, Marcus turned to Kate. That man is not normal. Did you see how he moved? How he looked at us? Yes, Kate said. I saw. He's been awake for 5 minutes and he's already asking military questions. Not where am I or what happened to my family. Just tactical assessments. Kate, what did we just wake up? Kate watched Ryan disappear down the corridor. I don't know, Marcus, but maybe he's exactly what we need. Later that day, Kate received the medical report. She read it 3 times, not believing what she was seeing. Ryan's bone density was 3 times normal human levels. His muscle tissue contained synthetic fibers. His nervous system had been enhanced with artificial connections. His brain showed signs of modification. Someone had taken a human and rebuilt him into something more, something stronger, something designed for war. The report also noted something else. Ryan's amygdala, the part of the brain that controlled fear, had been altered. He could still think and reason and feel emotions, but fear and hesitation had been reduced to almost nothing. He was a man who could face death without flinching. Kate put down the report and looked out the window at Earth hanging in the distance. Somewhere down there 158 years ago, someone had decided to create super soldiers. Someone had decided that humanity needed warriors who were more than human. And then someone had decided those warriors were too dangerous and locked them away. Now humanity was dying, and they had brought one of those warriors back. Kate wondered if they had made the right choice. She wondered what Ryan would do when he learned the full extent of humanity's desperate situation. She wondered if releasing him would save them or destroy what little remained. Tomorrow, Ryan would get his briefing. He would see the war footage. He would learn about the Zarthul and their overwhelming power. He would understand that humanity was facing extinction. And then they would see what a soldier from Project Cerberus could really do. Ryan sat in the briefing room, watching the screen. It showed footage of a space battle. Human ships, sleek and modern, fought against alien vessels that looked like nothing he had ever seen. The alien ships were organic, almost alive, covered in chitinous armor and firing weapons that tore through human hulls like paper. He had been awake for 12 hours. In that time, doctors had examined him. Technicians had tested his physical abilities, and now Helen was giving him a history lesson. 158 years of human progress explained in one long night. Humanity had reached the stars. They had found other worlds. They had built colonies across dozens of systems. They had grown confident. And then the Zarthul had arrived. The Zarthul Dominion is an alliance of 12 alien species, Helen explained. They appeared at the edge of our territory 3 years ago. We tried to communicate. They responded with violence. Since then, we've lost 37 colonies and over 2 billion people. Ryan watched another ship explode on the screen. Why are they attacking? We don't know. They don't negotiate. They don't explain. They just destroy everything human they find. Helen changed the image. Now it showed an occupied colony. Humans in cages. Buildings burned. This is what happens when they take a world. They don't enslave us. They don't use us. They just eliminate us. Ryan stood up and walked closer to the screen. He studied the alien soldiers. Their movements. Their weapons. Their formations. His face showed no emotion. They fight like a hive mind. Perfect coordination. No individual initiative. Classic superiority complex, and what do you mean? Kate asked. She had been sitting quietly in the corner watching Ryan. They think they're better than you, stronger, more advanced, so they fight with overwhelming force. They want to break your spirit before they break your armies. Ryan pointed at the screen. See how they advance? Always together. Always coordinated. They've never faced an enemy that doesn't break under pressure. And that helps us how? Marcus had entered the room without Ryan noticing. The general still looked suspicious. Ryan turned to face him. It means they have a weakness. They rely on fear. If you don't fear them, their whole strategy falls apart. Easy to say, Marcus replied. Harder to do when you're watching your people die. I don't feel fear, Ryan said simply. They took that out of me. Along with a lot of other things, the room went quiet. Helen looked uncomfortable. Kate leaned forward. Ryan, we need to understand what you are. The medical reports show extensive modifications. Enhanced strength. Improved reflexes. Altered brain chemistry. What exactly did Project Cerberus do to you? Ryan sat back down. He was quiet for a moment, as if deciding how much to tell them. In the 2080s, there were tensions. Wars brewing. The UN was afraid of a global conflict that would destroy everything. So they started Project Cerberus. The goal was to create soldiers who could end wars quickly, decisively, without massive casualties. He gestured to his body. They took volunteers, soldiers who wanted to serve. They enhanced our bodies with synthetic muscle fibers and reinforced bones. They improved our nervous system so we could think and react faster. They modified our brains to remove fear and hesitation, while keeping judgment and morality intact. They made us into the perfect warriors. How many of you were there? Kate asked. They were planning for 100. I was number 7. I don't know how many they actually completed before they shut it down. Why did they shut it down? Marcus asked. The wars never came. Peace treaties were signed. Suddenly, nobody wanted super soldiers walking around. We were too dangerous, too powerful. They couldn't just kill us. That would be murder. They couldn't let us go free. We might become threats, so they put us in cryo-sleep and buried the program. Ryan's voice was flat. No anger, no sadness, just facts. They told us we were heroes. They told us we would be awakened when humanity needed us. Then they forgot about us. Kate felt a chill. This man had volunteered to serve his species. He had let them turn him into something more than human. And then they had thrown him away like a broken tool. Ryan, I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm awake now. You need help. I was made for this. He looked at the screen again. Show me more footage. I need to understand their tactics completely. They spent the next 6 hours reviewing battle after battle. Ryan asked detailed questions. He wanted to know about Zarthul weapons, armor, ship designs, command structures, and supply lines. He absorbed information like a computer, never forgetting a detail. Marcus watched him carefully. The general still did not trust this man from the past, but he had to admit Ryan knew what he was doing. His questions were smart. His observations were accurate. This was not just an enhanced soldier. This was a tactical mind. I want to test him, Marcus said to Kate when they took a break. I want to see what he can really do. What kind of test? Combat simulation. Him against our best Marines, training weapons only. I need to know if he's as good as he claims. Kate nodded. Set it up. The training room was large and empty. 20 Marines stood on one side, wearing full combat gear and carrying training rifles that fired non-lethal rounds. They were the best soldiers in the Terran Alliance, veterans of dozens of battles. They looked confident. Ryan stood on the other side wearing simple combat fatigues. No armor, no helmet. He held a training rifle in one hand. He looked relaxed. Kate and Marcus watched from an observation window above. 20-1, Kate said. Is that fair? We'll see, Marcus replied. The simulation began. The Marines spread out using professional tactics. They advanced in teams covering each other. They were doing everything right. Ryan moved. Kate almost missed it. One moment Ryan was standing still. The next moment he was in the middle of the Marines. He moved faster than any human should be able to move. His rifle fired in short, precise bursts. Marines dropped, hit by training rounds. He spun, dropped low, came up firing. More Marines fell. The Marines tried to react. They fired at where Ryan had been. He was never there. He flowed between them like water, always moving, never stopping. He used their own bodies as cover. He disarmed one Marine with a casual motion and used that Marine's rifle to shoot two others. In 47 seconds, it was over. 20 Marines lay on the ground, hit by training rounds that would have been fatal in real combat. Ryan stood in the center of the room, not even breathing hard. He lowered his rifle and looked up at the observation window. I'm rusty, he said. Give me a few days to adjust to the new gear and I'll be better. Marcus stared down at the training room. His mouth was open. Kate felt cold. They had just watched something impossible. One man had defeated 20 elite soldiers in less than a minute, and he said he was rusty. What have we awakened? Marcus whispered. Later, Ryan met with Kate and Marcus in a conference room. He had studied all the intelligence on the Zarthul. He had watched every battle. He had analyzed every defeat. Now he had a plan. The Zarthul command structure is rigid, Ryan explained. They have a central command ship, the Infinite Dominance. It's 12 kilometers long and carries their high command. Every major decision comes from that ship. Every battle plan, every strategic move. We know, Marcus said. We've tried to attack it. The ship is too well defended. We lose entire fleets trying to get close. You're attacking with ships. I'm talking about infiltration. Get me inside that ship. I'll kill the high command. Without leadership, the Zarthul will fall into chaos. Their rigid structure is a weakness. Remove the head and the body dies. Kate shook her head. Ryan, that's suicide. Even if we could get you inside, you'd be facing thousands of alien warriors. The ship has over 100,000 soldiers on board. I know the numbers. I can do it. How can you be so sure? Ryan looked at her with those strange silver-gray eyes. Because fear is their weapon. And I don't have fear. I don't get tired. I don't hesitate. I don't stop. They've never faced something like me before. This is insane, Marcus said. One man against an army. I'm not a man. Not anymore. I'm a weapon. This is what I was made for. Ryan stood up. You woke me up because you're desperate. Because you need something that can change this war. I'm that something. Let me do my job. Kate looked at Marcus. The general was still skeptical, but he was also out of options. They all were. Humanity had 3 months before Earth fell. Maybe less. They needed a miracle. If we do this, Kate said slowly, you'll need equipment, weapons, a way to get inside the ship. We have captured alien transports, Marcus added. We could modify one with stealth technology. Get you to a maintenance port during a shift change. Ryan nodded. Good. I'll need 3 days to train with your current weapons and technology. After that, I'll be ready. 3 days to prepare for a suicide mission, Marcus said bitterly. I've been dead for 158 years, Ryan replied. This is just waking up. After Ryan left, Kate and Marcus sat in silence. Finally, Marcus spoke. We're really doing this. We're sending one man to fight an entire alien army. We don't have a choice, Kate said. Look at him, Marcus. He's not like us. He doesn't doubt. He doesn't fear. Maybe that's exactly what we need. Or maybe we're about to lose the one advantage we just gained. Kate did not answer. She was thinking about Ryan's words. He had called himself a weapon. Not a soldier, not a person, a weapon. Something humanity had built and then buried, because they were afraid of what they had created. Ryan stood in the armory, examining the weapons laid out before him. 3 days had passed since his awakening. 3 days of constant training, learning new technology, adapting to modern warfare. His body remembered combat like breathing. The skills were still there, buried under 158 years of sleep. The combat suit they had made for him was impressive. It integrated with his enhanced physiology, monitoring his vitals and providing tactical information directly to his neural implants. The suit was armored but flexible, designed to protect without slowing him down. Black as space itself. The weapons were another matter. Modern rifles packed more punch than anything from his time. The recoil would break the arms of a normal human. For Ryan, they felt just right. He also selected 2 pistols, a combat knife, and enough ammunition to fight a small war. Finally, he added something unusual to his gear. A small music player loaded with classical compositions from Earth. Why the music? Helen asked. She had been helping him prepare. Where I'm going, I'll want something human to listen to, Ryan replied. He did not explain further. The door opened. 6 Marines walked in, already wearing combat gear. Ryan recognized their leader from the briefings. Squad leader Jake Sullivan, a veteran of 10 years. Next to him stood Nina Ortiz, an explosives expert with a reputation for creative demolitions. Then came Peter Kim, a tech specialist who could hack alien systems. Claire Bennett was a combat medic who had saved dozens of lives under fire. Alex Torres was a sniper with over 200 confirmed kills. Finally, Danny Wright carried a heavy plasma cannon that most people needed 2 hands to lift. What are you doing here? Ryan asked. We volunteered, Jake said. You're not going alone. This is a suicide mission. You know that? We know, Nina said. The Zarthul killed my family on the Helios colony. I want them to pay. They took my homeworld, Peter added. I've got nothing left to lose. Each of them had a story. Each had lost something to the aliens. They were not looking for glory. They were looking for revenge. And they were willing to die for it. Ryan studied them. Professional soldiers. Good at their jobs, but still human. Still vulnerable. Still capable of fear and hesitation. They would slow him down. They would be distractions. He opened his mouth to refuse them. Kate entered the armory before he could speak. Ryan, these Marines are going with you. That's an order. You've been alone for 158 years. You don't have to be alone anymore. Ryan looked at the Admiral, then back at the 6 Marines. They stood ready, determined. He realized that refusing them would be pointless, and perhaps having backup was not the worst idea, even if that backup was fragile compared to him. Fine, he said, but you follow my orders. No heroics. No unnecessary risks. We get in, we complete the mission, we get out. Understood? Understood, Jake replied for all of them. 2 hours later, they boarded the modified alien transport. The ship looked like a standard Zarthul cargo vessel from the outside. Inside, it had been equipped with human stealth technology and life support. Peter sat at the controls, his fingers dancing over the alien interface. The stealth field will hide us from most scans, Peter explained. But if they do a physical inspection, we're done. We have one shot at this. Kate stood at the docking bay entrance, watching them prepare to leave. Marcus was beside her. The general still looked unhappy about the whole plan. But even he had to admit it was their best chance. Come back alive, Kate said to Ryan. I'll do my job, Ryan replied. It was not exactly a promise, but it was all he could offer. The transport launched. They headed toward the Zarthul fleet, which was currently attacking a human mining colony 3 systems away. The Infinite Dominance would be there, directing the assault. It always was. The High Command liked to watch their victories personally. The journey took 6 hours. Ryan spent the time checking weapons and reviewing the ship's layout for the 100th time. The Marines tried to rest. Claire distributed stimulant patches that would keep them alert. Alex cleaned his rifle with careful precision. Nina hummed softly while organizing her explosives. Jake sat down next to Ryan. Can I ask you something? Go ahead. What's it like? Not feeling fear? Ryan considered the question. Fear is an alarm system. It tells you when you're in danger. I still recognize danger. I just don't react emotionally to it. I assess threats logically and respond appropriately. It makes me efficient, but it also makes me less human. Do you regret it? Volunteering for Project Cerberus? I don't regret things. Regret is another emotion they reduced. I made a choice. I live with it. Ryan looked at Jake. What about you? Why volunteer for this mission? I'm tired of watching us lose. Tired of feeling helpless. This is a chance to hit back. A real chance. Even if it kills me, at least I'll die fighting. Ryan nodded. He understood that logic. Try not to die. We'll need every gun once we're inside. Peter's voice came over the intercom. We're approaching the infinite dominance. Stealth field is active, starting our approach to maintenance port 7. Through the viewport, they could see the massive alien ship. It was enormous, larger than any human vessel ever built. Its surface was covered in organic armor and weapon emplacements. Thousands of smaller ships swarmed around it like insects. That's a lot of aliens, Danny muttered. Over 100,000 on that ship alone, Peter confirmed, plus the support fleet. We're looking at maybe 300,000 hostiles total in this area. Good thing we brought extra ammunition, Nina said. A few nervous laughs followed. Ryan activated his music player. Classical music began playing softly through his suit's speakers. The others looked at him strangely. He ignored them and checked his rifle one last time. Docking in 30 seconds, Peter announced. No alerts yet. I think we're good. The transport connected with the maintenance port. There was a soft thump as the docking clamps engaged. Peter worked the controls, opening the hatches. They could hear alien voices on the other side. Workers, not warriors. That was good. It gave them a few extra seconds. Everyone ready? Jake asked. His squad nodded. They looked nervous but determined. These were soldiers who knew they might not come back. And they came anyway. Ryan stood at the front. Stay behind me, move fast. Stay quiet as long as possible. Once they know we're here, it becomes a fight to the command center. No stopping. No retreating. Forward is the only direction. The hatch opened. They entered the infinite dominance. The maintenance area was dimly lit and filled with equipment. Several alien workers turned to look at the new arrivals. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the aliens realized these were not Zarthul. They reached for alarms. Ryan's rifle fired. Precise shots. The workers dropped before they could trigger any alerts. But the sound of weapons fire echoed through the corridors. Somewhere someone would hear. Somewhere alarms would start. We're compromised, Peter said, checking his scanner. Security forces are mobilizing. Then we move fast, Ryan replied. He started walking deeper into the ship. The Marines followed. Classical music played softly from Ryan's speakers, a strange counterpoint to the distant sounds of alarms. They encountered the first patrol 2 minutes later. A dozen Zarthul warriors came around a corner, weapons raised. They were large creatures, insect-like with chitinous armor and multiple arms. They looked intimidating. They moved with military precision. Ryan walked forward calmly, his rifle firing in short controlled bursts. Each shot found its target. The Zarthul returned fire. Energy bolts scorched the walls around Ryan. He did not dodge. He did not take cover. He just walked forward, killing everything in his path. The Marines spread out, covering his flanks. Alex's rifle cracked from behind, taking down aliens trying to flank them. Danny's plasma cannon roared, destroying a bulkhead and the warriors behind it. Nina threw an explosive that collapsed a side corridor, preventing reinforcements. In 30 seconds, the patrol was dead. Ryan stepped over the bodies and kept walking. Command center is 12 decks up. Let's move. More alarms. More patrols. The Zarthul started throwing heavier forces at them. War machines. Elite warriors. Automated defense systems. It did not matter. Ryan led the way, unstoppable and precise. The Marines fought beside him, professional and deadly. Kate watched from the Sentinel-9 through Ryan's helmet feed. She saw him walk through enemy fire. She saw him kill aliens with mechanical efficiency. She saw her Marines fighting desperately to keep up with this man from another time. And she realized something profound. This was not a desperate mission. This was a hunt. Ryan Carter was not trying to survive. He was hunting the Zarthul High Command, and nothing was going to stop him. Admiral, Marcus said beside her, the Zarthul fleet is pulling back from the colony attack. They're returning to the infinite dominance. Why? They're broadcasting a retreat signal. Kate, I think they're afraid. Kate looked at the screen showing Ryan's progress. He had been fighting for 2 hours now. He had killed hundreds of aliens, and he was still moving forward, steady and relentless. For the first time in 3 years, the Zarthul were retreating, not because of fleets or armies, because of one man who did not know how to stop. 7 hours. Ryan and his team had been fighting for 7 hours. They had pushed through deck after deck of the infinite dominance, leaving a trail of destruction behind them. The ship's corridors were filled with smoke and debris. Alarms screamed endlessly. Emergency lights flashed red. Ryan's armor was scorched and dented. His suit's medical systems had sealed 17 wounds, any one of which would have killed a normal human. His ammunition was running low, but he kept moving forward. Always forward. The classical music still played from his speakers, now mixed with static from damaged systems. Behind him, the Marines were in worse shape. They were still alive, still fighting, but barely. Danny Wright had died 2 hours into the mission. A plasma explosion had torn through his armor while he was covering their advance. He had died instantly, the heavy cannon still in his hands. Alex Torres was severely wounded. A Zarthal blade had caught him across the chest. Only Claire's quick medical work had kept him alive. He could barely walk now. Peter Kim was helping him move, one arm supporting the sniper while the other held a pistol. Jake Sullivan's face was covered in blood from a head wound. He had refused treatment, insisting Claire focus on Alex. Nina Ortiz limped from a leg injury but still carried her bag of explosives. Claire herself was exhausted from hours of combat medicine, but her hand stayed steady. "How much further?" Jake asked. His voice was hoarse. Ryan checked his tactical display. "One more deck. The command center is directly above us." "Good," Nina said. "I'm almost out of explosives." And patience. They reached an elevator shaft. The doors were sealed. Peter worked on the controls while the others took defensive positions. Zarthal warriors were still coming, drawn by the fighting. They came in waves now, desperate to stop the humans who had cut through their ship like a knife. "They're afraid," Ryan observed. He shot another alien trying to rush their position. "They're not fighting to win anymore. They're fighting to slow us down." "Can't imagine why," Jake said dryly. He fired his rifle until it clicked empty, then switched to his pistol. "It's not like we've killed 3,000 of them or anything." Peter got the elevator working. The doors opened to reveal a shaft leading up. "This will take us directly to the command level. But there's a problem." "What problem?" Ryan asked. "The elevator is disabled. We'll have to climb." Peter looked at Alex, who could barely stand. "Not everyone can make it," Alex spoke up, his voice weak. "Leave me. I'll hold this position. Buy you time." "No," Claire said immediately. "I'm not leaving you. I can carry him," Ryan said. He had carried heavier things during training. His enhanced strength made it possible. They started climbing. Ryan went first, carrying Alex on his back. The others followed. It was slow work. The shaft was long and they were all exhausted. Below them, they could hear the Zarthal gathering. A final assault was coming. They reached the top. The doors to the command level were massive, reinforced with armor plating. Beyond those doors was their target, the Zarthal High Command, the leaders who had ordered humanity's destruction. Nina placed her remaining explosives on the door. "This is everything I have left. It should do the job." She set the timer. 30 seconds. Everyone back, they took cover. The explosives detonated with a thunderous roar. The doors blew inward. Smoke and fire filled the corridor. Before it cleared, Ryan was moving. He charged through the smoke, rifle raised. The command center was enormous. Screens covered the walls, showing views of space and tactical displays. In the center stood 12 figures, each representing a different species of the Zarthal Dominion. These were the leaders, the ones who had declared war on humanity. Protecting them were 50 Royal Guard, elite warriors in heavy armor carrying the finest weapons the Dominion could produce. They were larger than normal Zarthal, bred and trained for one purpose: to protect the High Command with their lives. One of the leaders stepped forward. It was massive, easily 3 meters tall, with armor that seemed to be part of its body. When it spoke, the translation came through Ryan's helmet. "What manner of creature are you?" Ryan stopped in the center of the room. His Marines took positions near the entrance, weapons ready. Classical music still played softly from his speakers. "I'm what humanity creates when we're afraid of ourselves." The alien leader studied him. "You have killed thousands to reach this room. You and your small group have done what entire fleets could not. But you are still just flesh. You can still die." It gestured to the Royal Guard. "Kill them all." The Royal Guard attacked. They moved fast, faster than the regular warriors. Their weapons fired energy bolts that could punch through ship armor. They were the best the Zarthal had, and they had never failed to protect the High Command. The fight was chaos. Ryan moved through the guards like a ghost. He was everywhere and nowhere, his rifle firing with mechanical precision. The guards could not pin him down. Every time they thought they had him, he was somewhere else. The Marines fought desperately at the entrance. Jake's rifle barked continuously. Nina threw her last grenade, taking out 5 guards. Peter had picked up an alien weapon and was firing both it and his pistol. Claire fought with one hand while trying to keep Alex conscious with the other. Jake went down. A guard had gotten through their line and struck him from behind. He fell hard, his rifle clattering away. The guard raised its weapon for the killing blow. Peter threw himself in front of Jake. The guard's shot meant for Jake hit Peter instead. He collapsed dead before he hit the ground, but his sacrifice gave Jake time to roll away and grab his weapon. "Peter," Claire screamed. She started toward him, but more guards were coming. She had to choose between trying to save Peter's body or defending Alex. She chose Alex. She chose the living. Nina saw guards flanking toward Ryan. She positioned herself to intercept them. "Ryan, on your 6!" She opened fire, drawing their attention. It worked. They focused on her. All of them. She fought well. She took down 3 guards before they overwhelmed her. Energy bolts struck her from multiple directions. She fell, but she had done what she intended. She had bought Ryan time. She had protected the mission. Ryan saw it all. He saw his team dying to protect him, to complete the mission. He felt no grief. Grief was an emotion they had muted. But he felt something. Obligation. They had given their lives. He would not waste that sacrifice. He moved faster. His rifle clicked empty. He dropped it and drew his pistols. 2 guards fell. He threw 1 pistol, the heavy weapon striking a guard in the face. He drew his knife. Close combat now, the kind of fighting where his enhanced physiology gave him the greatest advantage. Claire was hit. Multiple shots struck her as she stood over Alex, trying to protect him one last time. She fell across his body, her medical kit spilling open. Alex, barely conscious, reached for her. But she was already gone. Jake fought on. He was wounded in a dozen places. Blood ran down his face. But he kept firing, kept protecting Ryan's flank, kept doing his job until the very end. A guard's blade found him. He went down slowly, his rifle firing until the last moment, and then it was over. The Royal Guard was dead. All 50 of them lay scattered across the command center floor. Ryan stood among them, covered in blood, both alien and human. His armor was in ruins. His weapons were gone. But he was still standing. The high command stood frozen. They had watched their best warriors fall. They had watched one human kill 50 Royal Guard. Now that human turned toward them. The leader, the one who had spoken before, drew a weapon. "I am High Commander Dracacor. I have conquered 17 worlds. I have led the Dominion for 30 cycles. I will not die to a single warrior." Ryan picked up a fallen guard's blade. "Then you should have stayed home." Dracor attacked. He was fast and strong, a lifetime of combat making him deadly. His weapon struck where Ryan's head had been a moment before. They fought across the command center, destroying equipment and screens. Dracor was good, perhaps the best warrior Ryan had ever faced, but Ryan had been built to win. Not to fight well, not to fight honorably, to win, at any cost. The fight ended with Ryan's blade through Dracacor's chest. The High Commander fell slowly, his weapon clattering to the floor. He looked up at Ryan with something like understanding. "How many of you are there?" "I don't know," Ryan replied honestly. "I was number 7. There were supposed to be 100 of us." Dracacor made a sound that might have been a laugh. Then he died. Ryan turned to the other 11 members of the High Command. They backed away from him. These beings had conquered dozens of worlds. They commanded millions of warriors, and they were terrified of one human. "You came to our space," Ryan said. "You attacked our colonies. You killed our people. That was your mistake." He walked toward the communication controls. "Now you're going to leave. Or I'm going to wake up my brothers and sisters, and we will hunt every single one of you." He accessed the communication system. Peter had taught him how during the approach. He opened a channel to every Zarthal ship, every occupied colony, every alien warrior in human space. They would all see this. Ryan stood over Dracor's body. He was covered in blood. His armor was destroyed. Behind him lay the bodies of the Royal Guard and his own team. He looked directly into the camera. "I am Echo 7, Project Cerberus. You invaded humanity's home. That was a mistake. Leave now, or I will find every single one of you." The rescue ships arrived 30 minutes after Ryan's transmission. Kate Morrison led the operation personally, bringing medical teams and security forces. They found Ryan sitting in the command center among the dead, keeping watch over Alex Torres. The sniper was unconscious but stable. Kate stepped through the destroyed entrance. She saw the bodies of the Royal Guard scattered everywhere. She saw the fallen High Command members. She saw her Marines, the ones who had volunteered knowing they would not return. And she saw Ryan covered in blood and sitting perfectly still. "Ryan," she said softly. He looked up. Those silver-gray eyes met hers. "Alex needs immediate medical attention. The others are gone." The medical teams rushed forward. They carefully moved Alex onto a stretcher. One doctor approached Ryan. "Sir, you need treatment. You have multiple serious wounds." "After Alex is stable," Ryan said, "and after we recover the bodies of my team." "They come first." Kate nodded to the recovery teams. They began the careful work of preparing the fallen Marines for transport. They handled each body with respect. These were heroes. They deserved dignity. Marcus Webb arrived on the second wave. He walked through the command center in silence, taking in the destruction. 1 man and 6 Marines had done this. They had fought through an entire ship. They had killed the high command of an alien empire. It seemed impossible, but the evidence was all around him. "The Zarthul fleet is in full retreat," Marcus told Kate. "Every ship, every occupation force. They're abandoning weapons, supplies, even prisoners. They're running." "How long until they're out of human space?" Kate asked. "At their current speed? 72 hours. Exactly what Ryan told them. Marcus looked at Ryan, who was now letting the doctors examine him. He really did it. One broadcast and they're fleeing like scared children. "They saw what he did," Kate said. "They saw him kill their best warriors, kill their leaders, and then he threatened to wake 99 more like him. They're not fleeing from what he did. They're fleeing from what he promised to do." "Are there really 99 more?" Marcus asked quietly. "I don't know. We'll need to check the facilities he uploaded. But does it matter?" The bluff worked. They returned to the Sentinel-9. Alex was rushed into surgery. The doctors said he would live, though he would need months of recovery. Ryan finally allowed himself to be treated. His wounds were serious. Any one of them would have hospitalized a normal person for weeks. For Ryan, they meant a few days of accelerated healing. Kate visited him in the medical bay. He was sitting up in bed, connected to various machines. His body was already healing at an impossible rate. "How are you feeling?" she asked. "Functional," Ryan replied. "The enhanced healing is working as designed. I'll be mobile in 48 hours. Kate sat down beside him. "Ryan, you saved humanity. The war is over. The Zarthul are leaving. Because of you." "Because of Jake, Nina, Claire, Peter, and Danny," Ryan corrected. "They died to complete the mission. I just survived. They volunteered. They knew the risks. That makes it worse, not better. They chose to follow me. They chose to die." Ryan looked at Kate. "I was designed to not feel fear or hesitation, but I feel obligation. I owe them something. I owe all of you something. You don't owe us anything. You already gave us everything. I was built to fight your wars. That's what I did. But those 5 Marines, they chose to fight. That's different. That's courage. Real courage, not engineered efficiency." Kate was quiet for a moment. Then she asked the question that had been bothering her. "The coordinates you uploaded? The other Cerberus facilities, are they real?" "The facilities are real. They exist. Whether there are viable subjects in them, I don't know. I was frozen 158 years ago. A lot can go wrong in that time. Power failures. Equipment malfunctions. The program was shut down suddenly. They might not have properly maintained the other chambers. So it might have been a bluff. It was a calculated gamble. The Zarthul could not risk it being true. Even if only 10 more soldiers like me exist, that would be enough to destroy their entire civilization. They made the logical choice. 3 days later, the Zarthul were gone from human space. Every ship, every soldier. They had abandoned everything in their rush to leave. The 3-year war that had cost billions of lives was over. Humanity had won. The Terran Alliance held a memorial service for the fallen. It was broadcast across all human worlds. People gathered to honor not just the 5 Marines who died on the Infinite Dominance, but all the people lost in 3 years of war. Billions of names scrolled across screens. Billions of lives ended by alien aggression. Ryan attended in his dress uniform. He stood at attention as they honored Jake Sullivan, Nina Ortiz, Claire Bennett, Peter Kim, and Danny Wright. Kate gave a speech about their courage, about how 5 volunteers had changed the course of history, how they had given their lives to save humanity. After the ceremony, Kate tried to award Ryan a medal, the highest honor the Terran Alliance could give. He refused. "I was doing what I was designed to do," he said. "They chose to be heroes. Give their families the medals. Give them the recognition. I'm just a weapon that did its job." "You're more than a weapon, Ryan," Kate insisted. "Maybe. I'm still figuring that out." Ryan looked at the crowd of people celebrating their survival. "What happens now?" "That's up to you. The Alliance is offering you anything you want. Wealth, position, retirement. You earned it." "I want to investigate the other Cerberus facilities," Ryan said. "If there are others like me out there, frozen and forgotten, they deserve better than I got. They deserve a choice." Marcus Webb, who had been listening nearby, spoke up. "Most of those facilities are probably empty or failed. Dr. Cross has been checking the records we found." Project Cerberus was shut down abruptly. Only a handful of subjects were successfully placed in cryosleep. "How many?" Ryan asked. "We think maybe 3 or 4 viable chambers besides yours. The rest failed or were never completed. Then I'll find those 3 or 4. They're my brothers and sisters. The only other people in the universe who know what it's like to be what we are." Kate nodded. "We'll give you whatever resources you need. Ships, equipment, personnel, whatever it takes." Over the next 3 months, Ryan searched the old Cerberus facilities. Most were abandoned ruins. Some had suffered power failures decades ago, the cryo chambers going dark and their occupants dying in their sleep. But he found 3 that still functioned. 3 chambers containing 3 more enhanced soldiers. Echo 15 was Maya Rodriguez. She had been a Special Forces operative before volunteering for Cerberus. Echo 23 was Luke Patterson, a former Marine who had wanted to serve one last time. Echo 41 was Jordan Lee, the youngest of them, only 22 when frozen. Ryan woke them personally. He explained what had happened, how much time had passed, how the world had changed, and how they had saved humanity by simply existing, by being the threat that made the aliens flee. The 4 of them spent weeks together, adjusting to the new era. They were different from modern humans, built for war in an age that had created them and then tried to forget them, but they were not weapons. Not anymore. They were people trying to find their place in a world that had moved on without them. The galaxy had changed. Word of the human super soldiers spread. Alien species who had been considering attacking humanity reconsidered. Some approached with trade offers. Others proposed alliances. The legend of Ryan Carter grew, becoming myth. A single human who had ended a war in minutes. The truth was more complex. Ryan knew he had not won the war alone. 5 Marines had died to help him. Billions of humans had fought and resisted for 3 years, weakening the Zarthul. Intelligence officers had gathered the information he needed. Engineers had built the stealth ship. Doctors had enhanced and maintained his body. Victory was never one person. It was everyone. 5 years after the war, Ryan stood on the observation deck of a colony ship. They were heading to the outer systems, the ones the Zarthul had destroyed. Humanity was rebuilding, reclaiming what had been lost. And the 4 Cerberus soldiers were helping. Maya stood beside him, watching the stars. "Do you think they'll come back?" "The Zarthul?" "No," Ryan said. "They spread the word to their entire civilization. Humans create monsters when threatened, monsters that don't stop, that don't fear, that will hunt you across the galaxy. They won't come back." Luke joined them. "Is that what we are? Monsters?" "We're what humanity needed us to be," Jordan said quietly. "They created us. Then they were afraid of us. Then they needed us. Now we're helping them rebuild. We're whatever we choose to be." Ryan thought about Kate's final words to him before he left on this mission. She had promoted him to fleet commander, though he rarely used the rank. She had tried to give him medals and honors. He had refused them all, but her last words had stayed with him. "You were created to fight humanity's wars," she had said. "But maybe your real purpose is to make sure we never need soldiers like you again." Ryan did not know if that was true. He had been built as a weapon, enhanced and modified to be the perfect soldier. But watching humanity rebuild, seeing the colonies come back to life, helping people start over in the ruins of war, he felt something. Not happiness exactly. The modifications prevented that kind of pure emotion. but something close. Purpose, meaning. I met with Alex Torres yesterday, Maya said. He's doing well. Walking,